How are we doing tonight, everybody? It's a quiet night. Everybody's just a little slow moving. The lights are down. We're going to get rolling. Want to let you know, if you're watching online, we had a piece of technology break this morning. That means what you see on the screens like you saw it last week, which is a whole other debacle. I forgot to push the Facebook button last week. So if you wanted to see last week, you have to go to hilltopfamily.church, go to media, click live. Last week was called War Shepherd, and then tonight it should be live streamed. Anyway, let's get rolling here. Jess is going to read a psalm to us.
I have Psalm 27, 1 through 4. The Lord is my light. Love technology. A notification popped up. Okay, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, come upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumble and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this I will be confident. One thing I have desired of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple.
Amen. Would you stand with us? I'm going to teach you all a new song. This is right out of Psalm 27. I will seek you, Lord, while I am in my youth. I will serve you, Lord, and I'll proclaim your truth. For you searched and found me while I was far away, and in my troubled times you always keep me safe. Oh, 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 oh. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Oh, I will seek you, Lord, while I am in my youth. I will serve you, Lord, and I'll proclaim your truth. For you searched and found me while I was far away, and in my troubled times you always keep me safe. Oh, 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 oh. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Oh, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear?
Psalm 25 says, In you, Lord my God, I put my trust. I trust in you. Do not let me be put to shame, nor let my enemies triumph over me. No one who hopes in you will ever be put to shame, but shame will overcome those who are treacherous without cause. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God, my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long.
Cool thing about David is we've got lots of songs about him, or songs that he wrote. You want to get in the guy's head. So these are all Psalms of David that we're singing tonight. To you, O Lord, I lift my soul. To you, O God, I place my trust. Do not let me be put to shame, or let my enemies triumph over me. My hope is you. Show me your ways. Guide me in truth. In all my days, my hope is you. I am, O Lord, I am, O Lord, filled with your love. You are, O God, my salvation. Will guard my life and rescue me. My broken spirit shouts, my mended heart cries out, my hope is you. Show me your ways, guide me in truth. In all my days, my hope is you. Show me your ways, guide me in truth. In all my days, my hope is you. Show me your ways, guide me in truth. In all my days, my hope is you. To you, O Lord, I lift my soul. In you, O God, I place my trust. Do not let me be put to shame. Don't let my enemies triumph over me. My hope is you. Show me your ways, guide me in truth. In all my days, my hope is you. You, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you in a dry and parched land where there is no water. I've seen you in the sanctuary and beheld your power and your glory. Because your love is better than life, my lips will glorify you. I will praise you as long as I live, and in your name I will lift up my hands. I will be fully satisfied as with the richest of foods. With singing lips, my mouth will praise you. On my bed, I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night because you are my help. I sing in the shadow of your wings. I cling to you. Your right hand upholds me. Those who want to kill me will be destroyed. They will go down to the depths of the earth. They will be given over to the sword and become food for jackals. But the king will rejoice in God. All who swear by God will glory in him, while the mouths of liars will be silenced. In a dry and weary land, where there is no water to be found, my soul thirsts for you. My soul thirsts for you. In the shadow of your wings, I will sing you songs of praise from a heart that clings to you, from a heart that clings to you. Oh, my God, you are my God. Earnestly I will seek you. Oh, my God, you are my God. Earnestly I will seek you. Oh, God, you are my God. Earnestly I will seek you. Maybe we're walking through that this evening. There's a lot of prayer requests, a lot of difficult times. In a dry and weary land, where there is no water to be found, my soul thirsts for you. My soul thirsts for you. In the shadow of your wings, I will sing you songs of praise from a heart that clings to you, from a heart that clings to you. Oh, my God, you are my God. Earnestly I will seek you. My God, you are my God. Earnestly I will seek you. Oh, God, you are my God. Earnestly I will seek you. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, let us find our source, find our satisfaction, find our hope. Our safety and our shadow. Let us find it from you. Oh God, you are my God, and I will earnestly seek you. Let that be said of my life, and let it be true day to day. I ask that in your name, Lord. Amen. Y'all can be seated. All right, check one, check two. Are we on here? There we go. How are y'all doing? Got into the Word yesterday, and I turned a YouTube mix on called Epic Music. And I was in for like 4 or 5 hours, just like, whoa, and deep diving, and Schaefer and Kelly are going, you are insane. And I was just so in, I had to break, and then I woke up this morning, and it was like Christmas. I couldn't wait to get to right now. Just so excited. Kelly's in the room. Is Kelly? She may be out talking. Okay. Again, last week, I was worried that I'd get too, ahead of myself, or if I'm not making sense, if I cease to form words, then y'all just slow me down. If you're watching us online, we had some equipment go out, so our live feed, we're trying to still give you live feed, but the camera will actually go to the screens for you so that you see the videos that I'm showing, because I'm showing some of that. My good friend Steve, he and I have been talking, and he said, I'm really excited about how you're going to wrap this up and how to kind of apply it. And I went, I don't know that I am. And after I prayed about it and I thought about it, here's where I'm landing. We need heroes. We need dragon slayers. We need people who are willing to stand up for what's right. There's a picture up there, Amy. I came across it on Facebook, and it's a guy that he says, man, it's really a bummer that we're raising a kid in these dystopian times. And the wife responds with, how lucky are we that we get to raise dragon slayers in an age when there are actual dragons, right? Now, we don't have real dragons, but we could look at it in a way of like, oh my gosh, we're bringing kids into this world. This world is so hard. However, what an opportunity for us to raise up hero kids, right? Y'all Hiles are doing that. It's a chance for them to shine. I want you to believe. That's why I'm doing this. I want us to, Don and I were talking about it a little bit ago. I think as you walk through the years, you can kind of get lulled into the normalcy of it. And I look at Charlie over here, right? You've been coming recently, rededicated your life to the Lord, and every week you come in and you're excited about following Jesus. And it's super convicting. I mean, you got to pray Sunday, and you're on cloud 9 because you got to pray out loud in church. Anybody feeling a little convicted about that? He's just so excited about the Lord. So excited about what God's doing. And he's quoting scripture to me. Scripture I already know. But it's like he tasted it for the first time. What we're going to see here in a little bit is David set a precedent for how to handle evil. In a time when people weren't dealing with evil, people were afraid of it. They were afraid to go get in the valley. David said, enough. No. This is not how you speak about God. And as we'll see later, other men and women stepped up because David had the courage to step up. Let's go to 1 Samuel 17. We're not going to read the whole thing this week because if we did every week, it would take a really, really long time. 1 Samuel 17. This is David and Goliath. We're going to start at verse 4 tonight. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head, wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs he wore bronze greaves and a bronze javelin slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? Are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he's able to fight and kill me, we'll become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, You will become our subjects and serve us. Then the Philistines said, this day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other. On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. I want you to believe Malcolm Gladwell's book, and that little bit of a TED Talk I showed you last week is this guy trying to dumb down the biblical account. And if you watch the whole video, he says, well, David cheated because Goliath was expecting hand-to-hand, and David took a gun to a knife fight. Okay, I'm going to refute that next week. Also, this guy wants to make Goliath out to be a bumbling fool, a dotard, somebody that needs to be handheld onto the battlefield. No. Here's what I believe. I believe that Goliath was at least 9 feet 9 inches tall. James, can I have you come up real quick? Don, will you go ahead and bring the lights full up so I can see better because my eyes are a little old. Okay, I'm 6 foot tall. I've got old man shoes, so I'm probably coming in around 6'1". It's got to be like that other guy, yeah. You look just like Nathan Jones. James is 6'8". 6'8". So the 4 cubits in a span, if you measure the cubit small, then Goliath could have been just an inch taller than you. So everybody online, you guys get a reference about how big. Goodness, you're big. You really are big. You're a giant man. I love you. I believe Goliath was at least 9 feet 9 inches tall, at the minimum. And Don and I have been going back and forth. I appreciate Don, seminary studied, well versed, and he allows me to. He sets pace for me well. And so we kind of talk about stuff. And last week, he was saying why he believes one thing. I said, no, I think this. So, I want you to believe with me, people. In a world where I'm seeing these kids on this TED Talk just being spoon-fed this trash from this guy that just didn't obviously read the text. Let's go ahead and believe the mythic a little bit. Let's believe that the Bible is what it says it is and that it might be true. And there's some sections of Scripture that I don't know what to do with, and I'm not going to hide them from you. I'm just not. But we're going to go, I don't know, woohoo, and have mystery and maybe believe in giants a little bit. Okay? I believe that Goliath was 9 feet 9 inches tall, at least. I believe that he and those like him were the only ones that could grip spears with weaver's beam shafts. I believe that Goliath was the champion of Gath, not some bumbling dotard that needed an attendant. I believe Goliath felt he represented Dagon or anything other than Jehovah, and I wonder if Goliath remembered what happened to the ark when the ark came to Gath, and I wonder if Goliath wanted a rematch. I believe that Goliath thought he was absolutely going to win, and I believe that Goliath thought the Israelites' cause was hopeless, completely, absolutely. So, here we go. Let's play that.
Our last goal for the day is to do the Goliath voice test.
So I always wondered, how could Goliath's voice be carried, and how could the Israelites hear him if there's a valley in between them? And that's exactly what we're going to test right now. So Rhoda's going to go up to the mountain, and I'm going to be Goliath screaming from across the river.
This is so steep.
It is.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. Okay. And we're going to see if Rhoda will be able to hear me or not. I'm really looking forward to it. Are you excited? There we go. Come on. All right, we made it. So we're going to stay right here. You represent the Israelites. And I'm going to go down there.
Okay.
And be Goliath and see if you can hear me. Right.
Let's go ahead.
All right.
Be careful, be careful. Easy, easy, easy.
All right, just need to keep going. Just gonna cross the river right here. I'm almost there. Okay, so now let's see if Rhoda can hear me. Let's see if David can hear me. Let's see if the Israelites can hear me. Hello! Hello!
I hear you.
I hear you too!
I hear you perfectly.
Insane. I'm gonna go farther. Let's check.
He's going further now.
I'm going even farther because she can still hear me. Okay. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
That is so cool! Choose a man for yourself!
That's
Let
pretty
him come down and fight me!
That's pretty cool. I hear him. Okay. He's much further now.
Let him come down and fight me!
That's how much I can hear him.
Okay, she could still hear me. Not even raise my voice that much. Let's go even farther. I mean, I'm in the middle of the valley now. Why have you come up?
Wow. That is incredible.
Okay, I'm just gonna cross the field, literally. This is insane. I'm just gonna cross the field.
Okay. It would be impossible to hear him from there.
All right, this is the last test. I'm like almost up across the field. Let's give this a try. Choose for yourself a man. Let him come down and fight me. Choose for yourself a man.
Oh my goodness. Choose for yourself a man.
I hear you!
That is incredible.
Absolutely unbelievable. I have goosebumps.
This is so incredible that he is so far down there,
I'm all the way across the field and she can hear me.
but I hear him and there's that echo effect.
This is insane. I can hear her. That means they could even reply to Goliath. They could hear David and Saul fight. Wow.
I heard everything.
That was so cool.
It is incredible, isn't it?
I had goosebumps because I didn't believe it's gonna work
And
out.
the Israelites, this is a cliff line. They would be standing here and they would hear everything.
Everything. Think of the spectacle. These hills are full with Israelites all over the military, Saul's military, the army in camps, many camps. David crosses this creek and onto the fields in the valley to face Goliath.
These incredible results are not something we expected to see when we first set out on this journey.
This was the coolest thing ever. You being down there and hearing you. This was awesome.
Every detail in the story of David and Goliath is proving to be possible. But these events are much more than just about their battle.
They can't.
Okay, so kind of neat, huh? That's the actual Valley of Elah. I love in the beginning there, you see him go across the little brook. I mean, it's all kind of laid out for you, right? David goes down the brook, chooses the 5 smooth stones, goes across. I thought he sounded really silly. He had a really silly yelling voice. I would imagine a 9'9" man or taller. Can you imagine? Like, give us a good yell. Yeah, a good diaphragm. I mean, you kind of heard it right there. Imagine this guy and yelling at the Israelites. Excuse me. All right. Where did these guys come from? Where did giants? Why were there giants in the land? That's what I titled tonight. Let's go to Genesis chapter 6. We're going to dive into some weird stuff, man. It'll be fun. Genesis chapter 6. When human beings began to increase, this is verse 1. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. The Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown." Oh, yay. Alf's talking about the Nephilim. Good times. You don't usually hear preachers preach about this stuff because a lot of times we don't know what to do with it, man. This is some of that weird stuff. that I can't explain. And I don't know, when we talk about the sovereignty of God, like, why did he let that happen? I don't know. Y'all are probably looking for a better answer than that. I don't have one. Kelly, she came in, she goes, you are a pot stirrer. Boy, aren't you? I'm like, yep, that's what I like to do. Okay, the sons of God term, it's used in Job 1:6. I'm going to read out of the New King James Version. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. Right? Job 2:1. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them to present himself before the Lord. Job 38:7. Okay, so Justin and I were talking. We're talking about fallen angels, talking about angels. At first, I was just thinking fallen angels. Then I get to Job 38:7. When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. And Justin's like, why did you say, I put a question mark, or just angels? He's like, why'd you put that? Well, I don't think fallen angels are going to be worshiping God for his creation, but maybe they are. I don't know how it works. A few weeks ago when we talked about the Spirit of the Lord, an evil spirit from the Lord tormenting Saul, and we read out of 2 Kings, I didn't get that either. Like, there's stuff going on in the heavenlies that I just don't understand. And I don't feel that I have a burden to explain it to you because I can't. I could try to fake it and try to posture that, oh yeah, I just don't, man. There's some things in the heavenlies that are going on that I don't know. But I believe that there are things going on in the heavenlies, okay? Man, remember, I'm off script, I love how Peter, it's like Peter got inside intel from the Lord. So Peter's like saying something to the church, and then he says something crazy like, don't you know you're entertaining angels, man? And then he moves on. And I want to be like, whoa, hold up, what? What does that mean, Peter? So tell you an angel time. This is our friend Krista. She was a missionary with, Reddy's back there like, he's just, I love you, buddy. I don't know, let's keep going. Our friend Krista was really, really sick. She had Japanese encephalitis or something really bad in Cambodia. She needed to get back to the States for some more tests, and she was wheelchair bound. So our friend Lisa, who was like a Korean Air SkyPass Gold super member, you could go into like the lounge and Krista was going to be able to sleep. So they wheel Krista into this lounge, and they're like, well, Krista can't come in because she's not a member of the Gold Team member. And Lisa's doing everything she can to try to get Krista to be able to get in there and take a nap. It's just not happening. Dude comes out of nowhere. Oh, she's my niece or nephew, or she's my niece. Yeah, she comes in. I've got gold membership, brings her in, and disappeared. Never saw him again. And to hear Krista tell this, I bombed it, I know, but we're like, ah! Sure, maybe some guy's listening in English that's Korean Airport. Sure, maybe he's privy to everything, or maybe. And then Justin's like, what if angels can shapeshift? I'm like, yeah. So he goes in a dude, then he's like, I'm a cat. I don't know how it works. But if I'm willing to not believe it, I got to ask myself why I'm so willing to not believe it when this is supposed to be his word. Matt Chandler talks about Americans being mechanistic, and it's something I really have to take into account. I'm used to things working the way I expect it. I put a kid into K, he comes out 12, he's this product of an American school system. That's how it works. You put it on an assembly line, and it gets to the end of it, and it's done. And if it's spiritual, and if I can't understand it, then it doesn't have any validity in my life. Well, that's crap. Okay, maybe just because I say it's not. It's not. Okay. Okay. Let's watch. Pause. Just let me prelude it a little bit. Found these guys. I like doing a lot of YouTube research. It's super fun. You get some kooky stuff. I found some like Hebrew folk tales, which were about unicorns, which was really weird. And then these guys. So the Nephilim, right? And they procreate with the daughters of man, and they make these giants. And then God's like, I've had it. I'm sending the flood. And he sends the flood. Then why are there still giants? Right? All right, go.
For a giant, that giant DNA, this is where it gets nerdy, but the giant DNA would have to come through through one of these 8 people that are on the ark. So we know that Noah's sons probably had pure DNA because they're all referred to as upright, which in this context probably means they weren't involved in any of these intermarriages, right? Because that's part of what being upright in these days was. So, all right, here's what I think. I think that the DNA had to come through one of his daughter-in-laws. Now, I think that, later on, where do you see giants?
Sons of Anak.
Sons of Anak, where do they live? Gath, the land of the Philistines, the promised land, they live in Canaan.
In Canaan.
Ham is the father of Canaan in Genesis 9, right? And so Ham's grandson, Nimrod, is the first one to be called a mighty man, and the Septuagint calls him a giant, all right? So you got this line of Ham going down to Canaan, and so I think that Ham's wife, Noah's son Ham, I think that his wife, so Ham's the father of Canaan, I think that Ham's wife carried the Nephilim DNA into the boat and beyond.
She was a part giant.
That's really
All right, how we doing? So in David's age, giants are a real thing, man. Just 90 years, 100 years before David, you've got the sons of Anak. You've got the Riphites. You have, it's a thing. These guys have been there. Let's look at more cases of giants in the Bible. Remember when the Hebrews went to spy out the land? Let's go to Numbers 13:28. But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. Numbers 13:31 through 33. But the men who had gone up with him said, we can't attack those people. They're stronger than we are. And they spread among the Israelites, a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, the land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. So, I read that a lot growing up. We hear that in Sunday school. And I think what you want to do is go, giants, they're like James. They're big guys. They're just a bunch of big dudes. Maybe they're like NFL players. As if an NFL team came in here and sat down, we would feel their presence. Those dudes are big dudes. I remember I was living in St. Louis, the greatest show on turf, Kurt Warner. And Kurt Warner walked into Wendy's one day. And I went full into hero worship mode. I'm like, oh, Mr. Warner, you are awesome. And I shook his hand, and he probably gets that all the time. He wasn't a big NFL player, but he was bigger than me. Dude was towering. Like, he's a presence. By the way, Zachary Levi is going to be cast as Kurt Warner, coming up in a movie about him. It's going to be great. I like Kurt Warner. Okay. Og of Bashan. Talk about Og. Numbers 21:33 through 35. So this is Moses and the Israelites are starting to clear out the promised land, right? Starting to take things out. And they turned and went up by the way to Bashan. So Og, king of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. Then the Lord said to Moses, do not fear him, for I have delivered him into your hand with all his people and his land. And you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon. So they defeated him and his sons and all his people until there was no survivor left him, and they took possession of the land. This continues at Deuteronomy 3:4 through 11. At that time we took all his cities. There was not one of them 60 cities that we did not take from them, the whole region of Argob, Og's kingdom in Bashan. All these cities were fortified with high walls and with gates and bars, and there were also a great many unwalled villages. We completely destroyed them as we had done with Sihon, king of Heshbon, destroying every city, men, women, and children. But all the livestock, the plunder from their cities, we carried off for ourselves. Does that sound familiar, by the way, early on in Samuel? Everybody keeping up with that? So at that time we took from these two kings of the Amorites the territory east of the Jordan, from the Arnon Gorge as far as Mount Heshbon, as far as Mount Hermon. Hermon is also called Sirion by the Sidonians. The Amorites call it Senir. We took all the towns on the plateau, and all Gilead, and all Bashan as far as Salakah and Edrei, towns of Og's kingdom in Bashan. Verse 11, parentheses. Og, king of Bashan, was the last of the Rephaites. His bed was decorated with iron and was more than 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide. It is still in Rabbah of the Ammonites. I'm like, what is this dude? So I do a little wiki search, right? And it's fun. You can kind of deep dive stuff and look in things. If you break down, you go to the Hebrew lexicon, the word bed here comes from eris, couch, divan, could be translated last couch, or sick bed, or coffin, or sarcophagus. Okay, so dude's coffin is 13 and a half feet long. What? And at the time of the writing, they said, and you can go see the coffin yourself. Okay, now. There are giants in the land. Deuteronomy 2:11, like the Anakim, they are also regarded as Rephaim. But the Moabites called them Emim. I'm just establishing that it was a thing, man. To David, it was a thing. There are giants in the land. Joshua 15:13 through 14. In accordance with the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, a portion in Judah, Kiriath Arba, that is in Hebron. Arba was the forefather of Anak. You keep hearing this name, Anak. From Hebron, Caleb drove out 3 Anakites, Shishai, Ahiman, and Talmai, the sons of Anak. Why would you have well-known names for random foreigners? Because they're champions, because they're heroes, they're giants. Shishai, Ahiman, Talmai. The Hebrews knew these guys because these guys were warlords and they were terrors. No one can fight them. And God says, yeah, you can. Trust me. No one stood up to him before, except this ragtag group of ruddy Israelites who don't have their own home because their God keeps telling them to take this land. Sidebar. Was it God's grace? I don't know. This is a God's sovereignty question. You can ask him when you get there. If the flood, Don smiles, because I don't know. The flood didn't take them all out. And in God's grace, did he allow the Israelites to be some of his continuing judging hand to finish off the darkness and the demonic lives of these giant terror warlords? I don't know. Could be. Okay. All right. So, Joshua 11:21 through 22. At that time, Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them in their towns. No Anakites were left in Israelite territory. Only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod did any survive. Interesting. Where are the Philistines? Gath and Ashdod, right? Okay. Y'all feeling this case now? This isn't some random dude. Goliath is known. They know him. Okay? Let's go. We're going to go past. We're reading in 1 Samuel 17. David is a youth. David hasn't really shown up on the scene just yet. He's been in Saul's court a little bit, and he's about to show up in the valley of Elah. We're going to fast forward to David's already a king. David's got his mighty men. Okay, listen to this. 2 Samuel 21:15 through 22. Once again, there was a battle between the Philistines and Israel. David went down with his men to fight against the Philistines, and he became exhausted. And Ishbi-Benob, that's a great, horrible giant name. And Ishbi-Benob. Can you picture the guy? He's scary. I think his jaw is just incredibly chiseled and very pointy, and he's got scary hair. Maybe, I don't know what scary hair means. right? But you can picture scary hair, okay? Ishbi-Benob, one of the descendants of Rapha. This name Rapha, this is where you get Goliath had brothers. This could be translated as a proper name, Rapha, or it could be he's descended from the Rephaites, okay? Could be either one. So we don't know if this is descended from one guy or if this is descended from a lineage of guys or a race of giants. Woo, that's fun to think about. One of the descendants of Rapha, whose bronze spearhead weighed 300 shekels and who was armed with a new sword. He said he would kill David, but Abishai, son of Zeruiah, came to David's rescue. He struck the Philistine down and killed him. Then David's men swore to him, saying, "Never again will you go out with us to battle, so that the lamp of Israel will not be extinguished." Are y'all catching some context here? This is really fun. Who's Zeruiah? Zeruiah is David's sister. He's got two sisters. And Abishai is his nephew. Who does this kid think he is taking on Ishbi-Benob? We'll get there. Verse 18, in the course of time, there was another battle with the Philistines at Gob. Love these names. It has to be a movie, people. Let's do this. At that time, Sibbecai the Hushathite killed Saph, one of the descendants of Rapha. Who's Sibbecai? No-namer. In another battle with the Philistines at Gob, Elhanan, son of Jair, the Bethlehemite, he's from the same town as David, killed the brother of Goliath the Gittite, who had a spear with a shaft like a weaver's rod. There's 3 of them besides Goliath. Still in another battle which took place at Gath, where are we now? Gath. We've got their backs against the wall. Now we're on their turf. Okay then, okay. There was a huge man with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all. He was also descended from Rapha. When he taunted Israel, Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, David's brother, killed him. These 4 were descendants of Rapha in Gath, and they fell at the hands of David and his men. There were giants in the land. I can't get past that verse without quoting, pardon me, but do you have 6 fingers on your right hand? I can't. Amy, there is one picture toward the end of those, and it's Goliath. There's a shield bearer. Would you pull that up for me? It's a cartoon, colorful. It's right next to the one with the dude grabbing the guy and running him through. These pictures are fantastic. I didn't even put them all in there. Sorry, it like 44? 50? There's old Malcolm, not that one. Keep going. I love that one. Keep going. Oh, then it's the other direction. We'll get there in a minute. I love it because it's got the 4 giants on the battlefield. Right? It's not that one. It's the next one. Nope, yep, that's it. I love this picture. I think that guy has 6 fingers. I love it. Because maybe that's how it went down. Can you imagine? There's a room full of giants, man. There are giants in the land. And they are markedly not for Jehovah. And David knows it. Common thought process is that David took 5 smooth stones from the brook. Why did he choose 5 smooth stones? Because tactically, dude was going to lay them all out right next to each other. And that's what we think he was thinking maybe, which is moxie, man. Right? 5 of them. Cool, I got it. Me and Jesus. There are giants in the land. Let's go to verse 8 of 1 Samuel 17. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come up and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he's able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Then the Philistines said this day, "I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. I've got this neat note in my Bible. Oh yeah, I'm new to glasses, and I forgot where I put them. Is the armor too big or the crown? There was more to Saul's offer of the royal armor and sword to David than meets the eye. Positions of authority in the ancient world were marked by formal insignia or by special clothing. Even more important, the ruler's weapon, usually a sword, was seen as a gift of the deities and a mark of their favor toward the bearer as the legitimate ruler. So when Saul offered David his armor, he would have been understood by Israelite culture as offering David his own position as king of Israel. The transfer of clothing signified a transfer of status. Elsewhere in the Bible, Elijah called Elisha to replace him as God's primary prophet simply by throwing his mantle upon his successor. Saul's sword was the mark of his position as defender of Israel. When the sword was given to David, Saul's kingship went with it. But David could not wear the armor or the sword. He was not ready to rule, even though he already had the favor of God and the courage to defend Israel. By returning the military gear, David showed that he did not intend to replace Saul as king. He held to his position firmly, even later avoiding confrontation with Saul. Now, I hadn't heard that before. I could see that. But Saul is head and shoulders above the rest. Who's the hero of Israel? It's Saul. It's not Samuel. Samuel's old. Goliath is calling out a hero, and everybody's expecting it to be Saul. And what's Saul doing? He's not doing anything. And you'll notice not any other Israelite men, including David's brothers, stepped up to the giant. Okay? Enter David. Shepherd. We've only seen him in one couple little sections before, but we already know so much about him. Sought after by God. 1 Samuel 13:4. A man after God's own heart. 1 Samuel 13:4. Anointed. 1 Samuel 16:13. One on whom the Spirit of God rushed onto. 1 Samuel 16:13. And he's a young man, and he can play the lyre. Like, here's this embodiment of our hero, Jesus, right? Verse 12. And I'm going to go quickly because I'm running out of time, but I want to finish. David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was born from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and in Saul's time he was very old. This is why Jesse was not at war. This is saving face. Jesse's old. He doesn't need to be on the battle lines, okay? Also, David is from small town, small family, small tribe. Verse 13, Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to the war. The firstborn, Eliab. The second, Abinadab. The third, Shammah. You also heard me pronounce his name, Shimei. They pronounce it both ways. The way that Hebrew worked, it was all consonants. When you look at a license plate, you don't see the vowels, right? Death Star, and it's DTHSTR, right? You know that it says Death Star because your brain can put vowels in it. Hebrew is written like that, just consonants, and later on, they put vowel points so we knew. So I want to know, one day when I get to heaven, one of my nerd things, I'll say, David, say your brother's name. I want to hear the slang culture, and you know how when you pronounce your siblings' names, there's tones. Is it Shama, Shema, Shemaiah, Shemeh? Just roll it around a little bit, and you'll get used to something, right? Shama. David was the youngest. The 3 oldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. David didn't need to be in Saul's court because Saul was at war. Jesse said to his son David, take this ephah of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread for your brothers and hurry to their camp. Take along these 10 cheeses to the commander of their unit. In Cambodia, if you get thrown in jail, they do not feed you. You feed yourself. Your family has to come and feed you. That's how it works. And so you get fed by your family coming, which is another reason you don't want to get thrown in jail, because your family has to come to jail every day to feed you. And I wonder if this is a little bit of this going on. These boys don't get fed unless family sends food. And then the cheeses are like taxes. right? So, yeah, it's not America, people. It's just not. See how your brothers are doing and bring back some assurance from them. Bring back some spoils of war. If they've killed any Philistines, bring back some gear. Bring back that expensive sword. So remember, the Israelites are farmers. They're going with plowshares and pitchforks. And these Philistines are warriors. And they have, Brent, is it steel or iron? I always forget. Which is the better one? Steel, thanks. You think I'd remember by now. Philistines have steel armor. Israelites don't. So if you get to kill a Philistine, you get his stuff. And that's expensive stuff. Okay? 19, they were with Saul and all the men of Israel in the valley of Elah fighting against the Philistines. Early in the morning, David left the flock in the care of a shepherd, loaded up and set out as Jesse had directed. Okay. Psalm 5. You see these morning psalms of David. Okay? And if you know songwriters at all, they kind of roll lyrics around for years sometimes. I wonder if David had the beginnings of Psalm 5. Listen to my words, Lord, consider my lament. Hear my cry for help, my King and my God. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly. For you are not a God who is pleased with wickedness. See, plucking this out on the liar, and he's reminding himself of the truth. With you, evil people are not welcome. Okay? Amy, will you show me the picture of Google Maps? It's still a place, people. 5 hours, 31 minutes walking from Bethlehem to the Valley of Elah. I don't know how fast the donkey goes, but there you go. Okay?